registered. Thank you to all the attendees. Thank you to the panel, Mr. Azhar Hussain and Mr. Ashish Tyagi. Thank you to our two eminent speakers of the day, Dr. Suresh Joyal and Professor Saurabh Chandra. I wish blessings of Saraswati Mata that today's webinar is not only fruitful, but it is also successful, and that Saraswati Mata blesses us, and that there are no hitches and there are no concerns. And the objective that we brought this webinar together, that our students fraternity gave expertise of the organizers, the panel of panelists, the panel of presenters, that everybody gains. The students, the hoteliers, the management, the faculty, everybody gains. So bless us, Mata Saraswati. I'm not much of a singer, but I would like to pray to Saraswati Mata. Varde Veena Vadini Varde Amrit Mantra Rav Bharat में भर दे काट अंध उर के बंधन स्तर बहार ज्योतिर्मय निर्झर कलुष भेद तम हर प्रकाश भर जगमय जय कर दे नवमति नवलय लाल छंद नव नवल कंठ नव जलद मंदरव नव नभ के नव विहग वृंद को नव पर नर स्वर दे वरदे वीणा वादिनी वरदे. These are lines written by a very famous poet, Suryakant Tripathi Nirala. This was one of the first prayers that was written in Hindi. Otherwise, all our prayers were written in Sanskrit. I'm not so good in Sanskrit, so I took the Hindi version. So with the blessings of Mata Saraswati, we would like to begin the proceedings.
Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all and all the panelists, organizers, and all the attendees to the webinar organized by the and with the great effort by our respected academics. I welcome you all to the webinar by the Hygiene Engineering Hotels for the future. Before we start the webinar, I would like to briefly things and about our having a huge experience in terms of talk out. He is a first-class postgraduate in business administration from Human Resource. He completed his 3 years diploma in hotel management and catering. He has a rich and imitable breadth of hotel industry and academic experience across levels. Let me tell you, is a 12 years experience as chef in a 5-star hotels in India and abroad, and 17 years as a senior academician of accredited hotel management institutions. Beside being active in research, consultancy, recruiting, and writing the website and journals of national importance, customized training for this various hospitality organizations and catering institutions. And his mission is to train people so that they become successful persons, wonderful service industry. With this, I request our respected Director Academic Sir to start up with the inauguration ceremony.
Our co-organizer, Mr. Abhishek Charles Peter. I will talk about him later. First, let me begin the webinar. I would like to begin the webinar with the purpose of the webinar. The purpose of the webinar is to make everybody aware of things, of how the future is going to eminent educationists according to technical and not only trained but also experienced in not only academics but also the skills and the methods of the industry. So we will try to bring together certain norms of hygiene together. These principles, practices will have to follow, come what may. You see, before we begin, I must tell you that every disease, every pandemic, every disaster which comes, it comes with a reason. So there was this disaster of AIDS, for example, which taught us how to behave, opposite sex behave with each other properly. Then there was this disaster of cancer. It came with a purpose. It taught us things that there are certain things which are cancerous, we should not have them. And now we have this thing, this pandemic, us that we need to rethink about cleanliness and hygiene. The hygiene is a deep thing. Before our panelists and our speakers tell their views about how the industry, how the hotels should behave, I must uh, tell you something about hygiene. Now, I made a presentation about hygiene. I made a movie which I wanted to share with. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share with you right. There are for all attendees. There are a few things that we've kept for all attendees. If you can see them, I would like you to please download them because we have only 1 hour for there is not enough time for us to show them here. See those takeaways, please download them. Let me now begin. So about hygiene, I thought I'll tell you about what is hygiene. I'll tell the whole world about what is my view of hygiene. I must begin by telling you that Indians Indian culture has been eroded over the past so many centuries, so many thousands of years, because of which it has been diluted. But the Indian thought, the Indian philosophy still stays. I would like to share some of my life's learnings with you. I would like to start. I received from my grandparents and from my parents. I was not fortunate enough to meet my great grandparents, but my grandfather taught me that whenever you come back to your house from the market, the first thing you do is you wash your hands. You wash your hands with either a natural soap or with mud, or best be cow dung ash. So you wash your hands with cow dung ash, then you wash your feet, both your feet, then you rinse the mouth, then you wash the eyes, then you do achman thrice. You take water in your palm, in your cup of your hand, and you thrice you drink it, and the fourth time you offer it to the god. And when you're taking achman, you should think about Vishnu, Bhagwan Vishnu. This is how I used to enter the house. I was a child and I used to see this every time. But unfortunately, as I grew up, I forgot. Till today. Till today, when I thought I'll share all this with you. He taught me, parents, my mother taught me that we should have our meals facing the east. We should defecate facing the south. We should urinate facing the north. And when we are washing our feet, we should be facing west. I don't know why, but he keeps saying that. Don't sit here, sit there, face this. Your head should be here, your feet should be there. Now, all these are points of hygiene. All these are points of hygiene wherein our body adapts and assimilates the maximum from to sipping water. After sipping water, shloka recitation, shlok. Teeth cleaning has to be done with twigs or with cow dung ash, not with a toothbrush. Toothbrush really damages your gums, really spoils your teeth. But unfortunately, everyone, including me, we use the toothbrush and the toothpaste. I am reminded of the principles of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the ancient science. It was developed several 5,000 years ago, more than 5,000 years ago. It is said to be the word of God. Sages, they recognized men integral part of nature. He said men and nature are intertwined. There is no human being, no animal, no plant in the world has the right to take the existence of the other. Similarly, human beings have no right to exploit the nature. What they take from the nature, they should take, they should use, and they should the nature. All the nutrients should be returned back to the nature, not thrown away in a lake, not drained away in a drain hole, not put in a septic tank and covered and left to rot. We are wasting nature, we are damaging nature. Anyway, so Ayurveda says that we should follow three things. The first thing is dincharya. Each one of us should have a daily routine, a fixed daily routine. The second thing they said is ritucharya, what to do in summers, what not to do in the winters, and we have to develop a regimen for each season. And the third thing which Ayurveda says is sadachar, which unfortunately badly missing. Sadachar means uh, social behavior and moral standard. One has to be loving, one has to be caring if you want to lead a healthy life, if you want to have a healthy body. Get up early in the morning. First thing you do is evacuate, clean your stomach. Second thing, third thing, clean your teeth, and then immediately exercise. After exercise, you take a bath. After taking a bath, you meditate. After meditation, you pray to God. And you eat. Water that you drink should be in touch with the sun, should have been in touch with the sun, because sun makes it tasty because of its ultraviolet UV properties, sunlight. All water that you now, these are ancient learnings. You see, 5,000 years ago, our sages knew about them because God had told them. So we don't have to research, we don't have to go any further. This is a wonderful time for us to adopt healthy sanitation practices. We should not live in overcrowded places, avoid immoral people. I don't want anything to do with a cheat, a thief, a beggar, a sick person, a depressed person. Please don't come near me. Or immoral people, or where there is a lot of sound. We should avoid these places, according to Ayurveda. Moving on, I would like to wear my glasses. Yeah. Moving on, birth and death were considered to be highly impure things. Today, I mean, we've lost all meaning, you see. So whenever there used to be a birth in the house, the lady and the child were not allowed to leave the room for 40 days. They were supposed to cleanse for 40 days. Hygiene, 40 days. When somebody goes away from the house, I mean, passes away, for 13 days, the house is considered to be impure. 13 days, there is no cooking in the house, shipping in the house. For as long as the body is in the house, there is no cooking in the house. In fact, there is no cooking in the entire village for as long as the dead body is in the house. Today we have refrigerated, but people waiting for 2 days and 3 days, and cooking, eating, having fun. So this is very unhygienic. and these practices must be revived. In the used to be people called chandals. Chandals used to, they should take care of the dirt and the dead materials. Chandals used to live outside the villages, and they would come only when there was need. Even looking at a chandal was considered to be impure or unholy. Similarly, in Europe, in France, there were people who were called the nightmen. The real name was Gong Famous. Gong Famous. Gong Famous then got translated in English in England as Gong Farmers. Now they were nightmen. They used to live outside the city perimeters, and they would come in the wake of the night. They would quietly come, go to each house, collect the whatever, and in the night they used to take it away, and they used to live outside the city perimeters. So all this happened till the 20th century. After the 20th century, I don't know, modernization happened, industrialization happened. People got this thought that, that the smell of the excrement is too bad and it can be removed by washing it with water. Now what sense does it make to mix pure clean water with the excrement? No, makes no sense at all. But the whole world is doing it. We've got flushes in every house today. Clean water is being used. Now how should we deal with the excrement? Please tell me. Okay, you can't talk. I'm not allowed you to talk. So how do we deal with that? We deal with that by, let me show you. Give me a second. Oh, I have to stop sharing first. And then again, make the presenter, and then close this and show this. Shivam, not showing. Where is my screen? Abhishek, could you please allow me to share my screen?
Certainly, sir. Give me a moment. So now you can do it.
Yes, thank you. If you can see the screen, those mobile phones won't be able to, but it shows, it has two pictures. On the left, there's a picture which says what are the current wasteful practices. So it starts from chemical fertilizers which go into crops. If you see the picture on the left, chemical fertilizers which go into crops, crops grow, we eat them, then we defecate, and what we defecate goes into water bodies, goes into uh, water bodies, and they pollute the water bodies, because of which we fall sick and our land becomes unusable. This is a straight line from top to bottom. It is a straight line. So we are using wasteful practices to create more waste. How we did it 5,000 years ago? On the right hand side, if you see the picture, eat, defecate, fertilize, grow, eat, which means it should not be sent water. Our waste should not be poured into water. I'm changing screen now. We should, has my sharing stopped? Wait, yeah. we should return all nutrients that belong to Mother Earth. We should return all the nutrients which belong to Mother Earth back to Mother Earth. If you're not doing that, I mean, I'm sorry, we are wasting. Moving on, Azhar sir, I think you should stop sharing. Azhar sir, could you stop sharing, please?
This is not my screen, sir. I think.
Let me. Your laptop has the access for the presenting the screen.
Mhm. Yeah, okay. Okay. So moving on. I see a revolution in our ways in the future. We must change. We should learn Indian ways. The ancient people, my grandparents, my parents used to believe that excreta, urine, semen, blood, and liquor are very, very bad things. Dogs, cats, earwax, nails, sweat, and water discharge from the eyes is bad. We should avoid it in all circumstances. They said daily bath was universally necessary, not like wearing jeans and wearing them for days together, going to the office wearing jeans, sleeping wearing jeans, and not bathing for a week, sometimes even a month. Now that kind of practice, please believe me, daily bathing is not a necessity, it is a way of life. It used, in fact, people used to bathe 2-3 times a day. In fact, some of the attendees, they might probably be agreeing with me when some people who take 2 or 3 baths in one day. The call for nature was answered far away from home. We recently had a movie called Toilet, in which they advocated that toilet should be built in the house. Now this is, you see, this is an excuse for us to understand that the matters of birth, the matter of death, the matter of excrement have dealt with very seriously and severely, with great amount of hygiene. Other whole humankind, all the nature will suffer. Rivers and lakes are never allowed to be polluted. There is a Hindi phrase for this. It is called Jangal Pani. You must have heard it, Jangal Pani. So Jangal Pani means you don't do it inside your house. You do it far, far away in a crematorium, in a in a hospital, in a wherever else, and or in the jungle. You do it far, far away from the home. And what do? You cover it with a thin layer of mud. Now, mud is such a purifier, I tell you. I have recently taken up the hobby of gardening, and once I brought some manure, cow dung manure from the dairy, and I spread it in the earth, and I was very happy that I've put manure on plants. But then after 5 minutes, I saw so many flies came over the manure, and they became so unmanageable, and the manure was smelling so bad, the whole house was stinking. I didn't know what to do, so I opened my Google and I said, "Let me see," because the Mali was not coming for the last 1.5 months. So I opened my Google and I started seeing how to deal with manure, and they thin layer of mud on top of the manure. I did that immediately, and can you believe me? In 5 minutes, all the flies vanished. Smell in the house at all in 5 minutes. That is the power of mud. So if you answer the call of the nature when you're on the way and there is no facility around, please do it. But then cover it with mud. You don't have to physically, and you don't have to do it. You just drag some mud over your by with the help of your feet. Just cover the mud with a very thin layer of soil, and you've done your part. You've given Mother Earth whatever you had taken from it back. But if you do it in the toilet, you're mixing it with water. You're mixing it with the water bodies. You're polluting lakes, you're polluting rivers, you're polluting the ponds and all the pure places. We never used to use our left hand for anything sacred, because the left hand was supposed to be meant for doing the impure things, the incorrigible things. To remove the smell of the hands, please try it out. Mud, you just rub them with mud properly, and you please smell your hands. Any kind of smell that you have in your hands, please rub them with mud nicely, and then wash the hands away, and you will see that all the smell is gone. It is so powerful. You see, I've been gardening, so I'm talking from personal experience. It is not book. The Veda says that all the nutrients that we nature should be safely recycled back to the, not mixed with clean water in the flush or on the sink or in the bathroom or wherever else. Don't mix any water which is chemical free. If you're using natural soaps and all, you can collect that water and then give it to the plants, give it to the animals, not throw it away in the drain. Whatever goes in the drain is lost. I mean, ancient people, my grandmother used to rain harvest. Can you imagine that? And I don't know what is rain harvesting. We used to have huge drums, in which whenever rain used to fall, they used to fill. And then we used to jump in those drums and we used to take a bath and we used to make fun, make merry. So I've already told you about the gong formans. This is what I wanted to say. Before I go any further, I would now like to begin the second part of the presentation of the webinar. I would like to formally wish a very good afternoon to all the staff and attendees of the webinar, to all the ladies and gentlemen present today, the chairman of IHM Meerut, and with the encouragement provided by our Honorable Secretary of the Trust, Mr. Raghuvansh Raman, and by the, I would say, by the ideas or mercy of our Joint Secretary, Mr. Sharat Chandra, by the help provided by our Chief Executive, Rajan, we would like to now formally begin this session. I'm sorry if I took too much of your time, but it was very necessary to lay these ground rules that whatever the presenters say, they must, or whatever the hoteliers plan for the future, they must remember that we have to go back to the past in order to reach the future. Have to revisit what the learned people told us. We have to learn to set examples and teach by setting examples. Before we start thinking about the future course of action for hotels, it is necessary that we learn some basic good practices, which are not only good for us, but which are good for the whole world as a globe. And to the senior management of IHM Meerut for having imposed so much faith in me, panelists, the organizer, co-organizer, Mr. Abhishek Charles Peter, and in the speakers. They gave us full free reign with a minimal or no interference at all, but all the support. Now, what else can any team want? But all the support. The entire mechanism of IHM Meerut was on a tight spring for all of these 10 days. So having said that, I would like to now hand over the stage to our co-organizer. I would like to have a sip of water, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A heartfelt thanks to our respected Dietech cabinets for telling us so many things in such a little time. I didn't know that keeping dogs and cat as a pet was regarded as unhygienic, or that we should organize such a mega event in just 10 days practice. I regard Chef Mittal as an able leader who has happened so many times during my brief session with association with him as assistant professor. He will never give me up on anything or anybody. I also think the idea that the human being have no right to abuse nature by wasting. We must return everything back to nature after we have used it, or balance will get disturbed. I urge all the attendees to take up of the Nachare and Sadachar in their lives sincerely. Stay hydrated. Now, moving further into, we have numbers of panelists and the presenters who will throw light on the hygienic practices and engineering for the future hotel. So I would like to call Mr. Ashish Tyagi. He's a hotelier having total experience of 16 years with industry. Presently, he is working as an associate professor, F&B service, as well as course coordinator for BSc HHA course. So I'd like to call Mr. Ashish Tyagi on the stage and share your valuable thoughts with us.
Thank you, Abhishek sir. I would like to thank organizer, co-organizer, and management of IHM Merit for providing me this valuable platform to share my thoughts. Now, the topic or the presentation I am going to share today is basically based on hygiene and sanitation practices in educational institutes post COVID-19 and teaching and learning after COVID-19. So these are the two important aspects that educational sector would be facing after this particular comeback or post COVID-19. Now, first of all, I will like to brief the few basic hygiene and sanitation practices that we must adhere to in our institute. That is, standards of cleanliness must be set. There should be temperature checks at the entry gate for all the people entering the premises. We should adhere to the basic principles of hygiene. Then we should have a positive hygiene behavior and update the hygiene related aspects to the all concerned persons. We should all clean and disinfect institute buildings and classrooms with sodium hypochlorite and otherwise 70% ethyl alcohol for small equipments. So this is the basic of the time that we need to do. Then we also need to provide proper cleaning equipments for cleaning the staff. We should post signages at different places to encourage good hand and respiratory hygiene practices, which would encourage and remind everyone to do the same. Then we should safely dispose of the trash, and we should have the procedures if any staff or students becomes unwell, how to proceed with these things. The next thing, we should know the latest fact, and we should know the procedures for managing the suspects. For everything, we should have a SOP to go about. Then next thing, we should be using mask and gloves as everyone is using these days. Then we should suspend the mass gathering activities. We should promote the target health education, and we should also address to the mental health and psychological support needs that would be required by all the people during this time. The second part of my presentation would be like how the teaching and learning after COVID-19 would be, because many of our educationists and other people, they are thinking do the offline or conventional education mode of education would become obsolete. No, it would not. Now we would be having a blended form of learning in which we have the online learning as well as the face-to-face learning and a combination of both. Now, how to proceed about this form of education? That would be the basic question. So answer to that is that teachers will blend the two according to the context and content. Teacher would judge the things, and according to the contents and content they will be making it possible for the students to have it effective learning. Then again, we need to have a redefining of the role of educator. He should be working as a facilitator, guiding the students more or less on the online platforms. Then next, we have to think how to plan for the continuity of learning. We should be teaching life skills needed for the future to the students. Then another question arises that digital tools, they are complements, but still they are not substitutes for face-to-face learning. That's why we have been imposing or emphasizing on blended form of learning. Now, new technologies, including the artificial intelligence, that must be used so that we can closely monitor the student growth and performance. Online learning is not a pedagogical model, but it is a combination of various models. We should stop the practice of transposing the classroom to the online medium without applying the science of digital learning, and we should all get trained in that to make us our learning effective. Now, post COVID, there would be some opportunities for the universities also, as there is already a workforce that is need to be skilled for digital world, and after post COVID, everyone would be need to be skilled in digital skills. So what we need to have is the universities can bring up some courses which would help us, the people, to learn the new thing about the digital learning. So educators will also be skilled, and help with the help of the education in the norm. That is the thing that I want to share. Now, I would like to summarize the things that the new form of learning would be blended form of learning. That is, it would be a combination of online learning platform and offline learning platform. So we all must work on it, and we must all get ready after the post-COVID challenges. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Now I'll ask Mr. Abhishek to ask next presenter to present their speech. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ashish Tyagi. Mr. Ashish
Very
Tyagi
good.
had shared his thoughts regarding the teaching and learning post COVID, as well as the hygiene in education. We came to know how the blend form of would be effective in new teaching methods. Next, call Mr. Azhar Hussain to take over. Mr. Azhar is an associate professor in F&B service department at HMIR. He has been with HMIR for past 4 years, has got rich industry experience working with luxurious hotels in India and Dubai, such as ITC Hotels, Atlantis, the Palm Resort, Dubai, the biggest resort property of UAE. The presentation stress upon how current pandemic will shape up the F&B industry post-COVID. So I'd like to ask Mr. Azhar Hussain to take over the platform and share his valuable thoughts with us.
I would like to thank co-organizer Mr. Abhishek Charles Peter, our organizer Professor Chef Anand Mittal, for providing such a wonderful platform for sharing our findings and thoughts for the current situation. All the panelists, I would like to welcome all the attendees as well. So as we are all aware about the current situation, that due to this COVID pandemic, many industries have shut. There are so many industries, and they have got so many industry which have got hit. And out of these, aviation industry, travel and tourism, and hospitality industry is badly affected. I would like to speak about some restaurants, standalone restaurants, which have got the biggest hit due to some reasons, because they work on a very small margins, and plus the capital arrangements are very low. So here I'm going to present some of the assumptions, some of the findings and thoughts which may shape up the industry F&B service trends in the coming future once we post the COVID-19 pandemic. Number one is the converting the business model. So the restaurants which are offering traditional service, on-premises food service, might have to rethink about their offerings. They might have to spin off to the other means of business, such as maybe. Am I audible?
Yes, please carry on.
All right. Okay, so I was talking about the standalone restaurants. They are going to get the biggest hit because of the small profit margins, and plus less of the capitals. Like we compare with the hotels, they have got a huge capital investment and they can cover up in few weeks or months to come. but for the standalone restaurants, it's going to be a challenging time. So they need to rethink about their business models. They need to maybe opt for the home delivery business. They might think of selling their food takeaways. They might make a small portions of freshly homemade jams and jars, and all these things might be available for the guests to take away. Because guests might not be very comfortable visiting restaurants for dining out. Number two, we can see here change in the layout of the restaurant and reducing the table capacity. Table capacities are going to be reduced as per the norm, as per current norms in Singapore. The current norm is 1.5-meter distance from one seat to another seat. So this we have to rethink. So it will reduce the seating capacity by 1/3, which will make the lot of business go away from these restaurants. So again, they need to rethink about their business model. Here, prices might have to be risen to cover up the revenue due to fewer turnover. There are going to be lesser footfall of the guests in the restaurants, as guests might not be so confident to visit the restaurants. So plus reducing capacity of the seats will again turnover will reduce. So they might need to think about price hike of their dishes a little bit for a month or 2 months until they get some other means of business. Contactless food delivery and payment option, we have to think about to build up the guest confidence. We have to think about contactless delivery of food wherever traditionally, maybe in the live kitchen or maybe in the Amazon service, if we had some contact with the food, we have to 100% remove that contact in coming days. Much more premium brands going to take leads in food delivery business. So as I said, so many restaurants, those who are traditionally serving their food and beverage on premises, they were serving on tables, they might think of delivering their foods and other options. So there might be a good challenge and competition in the market, and we might see a lot of different brands, different food items, and different ways of serving. Like there was a promise of McDonald's of 30 minutes delivery, so they were thinking about making 25 minutes also. So there might be some kind of competition in this regard. Optimize the menu to food which are suitable for delivery. Of course, if we have a restaurant of steak or a restaurant of maybe noodles or Thai restaurants, we need to modify our food which is good for delivery, because not every food is good for delivery. We cannot deliver the steak or fresh eggs or everything. So the food need to be changed according to the food delivery. Restaurant might think of providing deconstructed food items with call support to finish the preparation. So in order to overcome this situation, restaurant might deliver their food in deconstructed manner. So deconstruction is when you serve the menu dish composites in separate. So all the dishes components are separate, and it can be finished before eating. So we can do that if we have some crunchy salad over the hot food. So we might serve the salad separate, we might serve the sauce separate, and this way, and there is a guidance might be provided from the restaurants to finish it up. Or there might be chefs provided by the restaurant to finish the food at home. So that might be possible that restaurants provide their chefs to finish their food at their home, at the comfort of their home. Then there is a chefhire.com. It is already working in US. It might be more famous, like for some occasions, we call a chef at home and they cook our favorite food at home. So there's a freelancer chefs. We can call chef near me. They might be fine. So these types of websites might be very useful in coming days. Um, restaurant may provide their food items in packaging and as sous vide or frozen. Sous vide is a method of vacuuming pack of food, and frozen food is very famous, which is going to again take a lead. And this is from ITC Kitchen of India. They are already providing their dishes, which is served in the restaurant in packet form with preservatives. So like dal bukhara or paneer malai, paneer darbari, all these types of food preparation might be available in the packets. So guests can just reheat and consume it, and they get the same taste as they get in the restaurants. Reducing the menu choices. So in coming days, we might not see pages and pages of the restaurants of the menu. So there are n number of items are available nowadays, but it is going to be reduced uh, because of less profit margin, less footfall of guests, and you cannot hire a lot of chefs to prepare all these dishes in the kitchen. So you need to maybe thinking of reducing the food items to, and maybe you can change it on season, twice in a season or thrice in a season, to give a variety to the guest. Using locally available ingredients. The local available ingredients might be used in place of importing the ingredients from outside, because it is gonna again make it more expensive of the cargo and cargo charges and all other expenses of travel. The transporting. So this might be seen that we can play with our local ingredients, same in food as well as in cocktail and mocktail. So there are very interesting flavors in locally available ingredients also. We can do with that. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Azhar sir. May I request Abhishek Peter sir to kindly let Dr. Suresh speak next, because he has to go somewhere. He's got a. Is it possible, sir?
Yes, sir. So next, I would
Please.
like to call Dr. Suresh Chandra Joel. I would like to just brief him about all the attendees. That he has almost 30 years of experience in both private and public sector. He was working with the prestigious institutions like Holiday Inn, Crown Plaza, Lovely Professional, Sri Ram Institute of Hotel Management, Maya Group of Colleges, and etc. He has done his doctorate in adventure tourism. He has presented many research papers in national and international journals. He is a member of International Society for Panic Healing.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers, panelists, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to discuss this burning issue of COVID 2019. As we all know, we are confronted with a situation which we have never seen in our life. Everything has been closed, all shops, offices, industries, hotels, restaurant, everything has been closed. Now we are confronted with such a situation wherein we are in dilemma what to do. Today, I have seen the news which says that the number of cases have risen more to 70,000, 70,000 plus. Now, tourism and hospitality industry, it is one of the industry which has been badly hit. All the room reservation has been cancelled, flights suspended, trains suspended, hotels closed, restaurants closed. So it calls for a situation where everything has to be restructured in terms of hospitality. Now, first we have to think what are guest expectations. We have to think from the point of view of the guest. The first priority of the guest would be safe and secure arena. Guests would like to patronize that place where there is chances of least or hardly any chances of contamination. That calls for specific cleaning protocols in the entire hotels. For example, at front desk, we need to go for automated check-in. All the sanitization has to be spick and span because customer they would rely on, they would greatly appreciate the cleaning procedures. Besides this, we need to maintain a clean and transparent communication with the guest, cautioning them about what to do and what not to do. Let us say, for example, we all know that we used to send transportation for the guest. The car has to be sanitized. As my learned friends he has told earlier, the drivers they must wear gloves, face masks. There should be a provision of fiberglass participation. That partition would separate driver cabin from the guest area. And that has already been initiated 2 days back. I was seeing a video wherein I have seen they have already started that kind of work. And goodbye to handshake and coming back to our traditional namaskar. And besides this, when the guest, even at the airport, even at the pickup point, the hand sanitizer has to be provided to all the guests. When the guest arrives, the attendant, be it a bell desk boy, be it a room attendant, they must wear gloves, they must have masks. Sanitizing facility can be offered at the porch itself. Luggage sanitization has to take place at the main porch before it enters the hotel. Thermal scanning for all the persons entering in the hotel has to be there. It has to be mandatory. Now, earlier we used to have ATG, Aarti, Tika, and garlanding. There shouldn't be any kind of garlanding. Even for VIP's protocol, now we are just giving one flower. So it has to be no more bouquets, flowers, no queues. There should be ample space to be provided in the lobby wherein the guest can be seated. We should avoid the use of rugs because rugs in the lobby could be a carrier for the virus because these fibers they have tendency to accumulate the filth, so they could be another risk, so we need to avoid that. We should all follow the norms for social distancing, and for that we need to sensitize the guest. We can have the proper signages like you can see in the PPT there are signages where they're saying sanitize your hands. At front desk, when the guest arrives, there should be least or hardly any physical contact. We should go for maximum online payment. And whatever payment is being received in the currency, that has to be sanitized. We should go for face recognition techniques. So there is least of contact. We can go for digitalization of registration card wherein we can use some kind of iPad so that it is quick and fast. Then from housekeeping point of view, all contact point means door knobs, door handles, switches, they should be properly sanitized. All this stuff they should be properly trained regarding the sanitary and hygienic protocols. All the public areas should be specifically sanitized. In case of back-to-back, room shouldn't be sold in on back-to-back basis. Minimum we should have either 3 to 4 hours gap so that once the guests depart from the hotel, we have ample time to sanitize the room before the flush allotment is being made. Then personal protective clothing, whatever we are using, face masks, gloves, there should be provision as per the government norm for their disposal. The deep cleaning measures has to be taken in restaurants, staff, locker rooms, meeting rooms, And all the GRAs, because they are the one who are in direct contact, who goes to the guest room for cleaning, they should be properly educated about that. In a guest room, we should use minimum of guest amenity, and whatever amenities we are using, they should be discarded once the guest depart from the hotel. Now, pest control. As we know that housekeeping department is responsible for pest control, it has to be taken rigorously through the entire hotel, because pests, they are carriers and they could be another hazard. They could be helpful in spreading the virus. All the areas in the hotel should have hand sanitizers. And in the elevators, the number of guests should be restricted to 3 or maximum 4. And for that, we need to have a notice which could be displayed inside the elevator, and wherein we can inform the guests regarding social protocol of social distancing. And like for guest room, the fabrics, the linen, the uniform, they ought to be sanitized in the laundry. The staff which is using protective kits, face masks, shields, they should also be properly discarded and disposed of. And there has to be proper notices at the placed in the locker, staff cafeteria, where staff is being cautioned about social distancing, washing of hands, keeping themselves clean, etc. Since we all know that all the stakeholders, be it the government, be it the hotels or any other, they are taking every step to mitigate this crisis. But what you have seen, Tata Hotels, they have offered their property for the doctors, for the use of doctors and nurses. Definitely, I feel it is going to be a very strong marketing strategy. And in times to come, definitely people will remember them, and it will definitely it is going to boost them. With this note, that of course, Dincharya, Ritucharya, Sadachar, and giving back to Mother Earth, I request be cautious, be safe, stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joel. Thank you very, very much for your nice words. I'm so sorry to all my attendees that we are overshooting our time. We were supposed to end at 3:30, but if you please pardon me, if you please forgive me and Mr. Abhishek Charles Peter, we were not able to do it in time. We would like to extend the program for 20 minutes. So please bear with us for 20 minutes. We are not even in a position to take questions. There are so many hands which have risen, and we can't take questions because we have to wrap it up in 1 hour. But I want an extension of 20 minutes. I request my attendees with all my heart, please be with us for 20 more minutes. Before I hand over the stage to the co-organizer, I would like to introduce the co-organizer, Mr. Abhishek Charles Peter. He works as a lecturer with Institute of Hotel Management in the front office department from the last 3 years. So he and I, the tenure is the same. I am there for 3 years. I was there in IHM Meerut for about 5 years earlier, but that doesn't count. Now, this recent trip, I'm as old as Abhishek, Mr. Abhishek. He has worked in the hotel industry for more than 8 years, including experience in the industry and the academics. He has done his bachelor's in hotel management in 2012 and a master's in travel and tourism management in 2019. He is one of the best teachers that we have, if I can say this with the permission of Professor Saurabh Chandra. Saurabh Chandra is the best teacher, but Abhishek is a fierce competitor. He wants to, gain the #1 position quickly. So Saurabh sir is, of course, undoubtedly hands down. So he has worked in reputed hotels, 5-star hotels, Oberoi Group, certain very reputed heritage chains. There's not much time. I don't want to go through the whole list. While working with different hotels of different demography, he acquired various skills of developing training modules, of team management, and inventory of front office and reservation. We are so happy to have him in IHM Merit, and I'm so glad that he accepted the gigantic task of being the co-host with me. Over to Abhishek, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for the lovely words and illustrating my capabilities. Thank you very much. Moving further into the webinar, I would like to call Mr. Saurabh Chandra for the next presentation. Mr. Saurabh Chandra is a mechanical engineer. He has done his master's in marketing. He is teaching hotel engineering, strategic management, human values and ethics, and facility planning for 12 years at IHM Merit. He's got a vast experience in industry. So I request Mr. Saurabh Chandra to please and share your valuable thoughts with us.
Thanks a lot, Abhishek sir. Thanks for everything. I would like to start my presentation with my heartiest thanks to the top management of IHM Meerut and the guidance provided by Principal Sir, Director Chef Anand Mittal sir. Everybody has given me such a beautiful opportunity to present the subject which is very close to my heart. So today my topic is re-engineering in hotels. Lots of hue and cry is there that what will happen to the industry, what will be the future of the industry, how we will come out of it. Let me assure you, there is nothing going to happen. As a mechanical engineer, I can assure you that very minor changes we have to make in the industry, in the hotels, and these changes will ensure that there is no problem with the guest, and I can assure you the occupancy level will increase, because if hygiene will increase, the engineering will increase, the methodologies will increase, the SOPs will increase, then obviously the guest will be coming to our hotel. So coming to the point, we will start with the sanitation. There will be sanitation booths, rather I will be saying there will be sanitation tunnels. These tunnels will be having air pressure, air washers, and that also mixed with liquid which contains chlorine. The person who is entering into the tunnel will be fully sanitized. The guest will be fully sanitized before entering into the hotel. These tunnels will be treated with UV rays in the night so that they are fully sanitized for further use next day. The thermal screening of the guest will also be done automatically in that tunnel, and we will get the result, whatever it is, if we can allow the guest to enter or if we have to politely say no to him or her. On the front desk, while doing check-ins, we will be having glass wall erected on the front desk so that there is a permanent shield between the staff and the guest, and during the check-in there is minimum human interaction. As my all panelists have told, the check-ins will be online, the documents will be online, and the payment will be digital. Obviously, there will be no keys, smart card will be there, which will be given to the guest, which will be again disposable. Now the carpets will not be there. The floors of the hotels will now be designed that it will complement the carpet. Like now the flooring, the civil construction engineering will be so developed that we won't be needing carpet. The floor is in itself will be carpet, and we can clean that floor easily. Carpet, as we all very well know, it can be a hub of germs, bacteria and viruses. Now coming to the doors, sensors will be fitted at various doors. Like when we will be entering, we will try, when the guest is entering into the any of the door, then he won't have to do any of the human touch. No human touch is necessary. It will be, there will be sensor, there will be electronic sensor. Whenever the guest will arrive, the door will open automatically and the guest can enter or exit from that door. Coming to the lift, the doors of the lift will be now voice controlled. Now we won't have to push the
button that on which floor we want to go. We have to just give the voice command and the lift will go on that floor, and automatically, as usual, the door will open. So we don't have to touch any of the button, any of the equipment, any of the tool. Now coming to the restaurant, the design will be completely changed. I may propose that we won't be needing to cut down the number of guests. We will be making glass cabins for the guests. There will be covering for the guests, and the service will be done from the corner with maximum distance, with keeping in mind social distance and minimum contact with the service personnel with the guest. Now there will be no menu card. Obviously, the menu card will be shared online with the guest, and he will place the order online. The KOT will be online, and obviously the mode of payment will be digital. We will try our level best to ensure that most of the cutlery is now disposable. We cannot go for fully disposable cutlery, but maximum emphasis will be given on disposable cutlery. Now, the main problem which we are facing today, or we will be facing, is air conditioner. Central air conditioner are the ground for various viruses. The central air conditioner now will have heavy filters. They will be as per WHO guidelines. The filters will ensure that there is no virus, no bacteria that can germinate in those filters, because through central AC, the viruses can travel very easily, and this will become a major problem in coming days. So these filters will be as per the guidelines, as per the various guidelines of various organizations, and these filters will ensure that the air is pure, clean, and fit for human consumption. In the end, I will come to some robotic techniques. It is a very dicey area which I will be covering. Like as in hospitality, we have to make a fine balance between various robots and human. We want to give a awesome experience to the guest, but we want safety also, safety of our staff also. So there will be blend of robots and human beings. Various robotic techniques are being developed, and they will take a proper shape once this pandemic is over. Various things are there which we can think about that, but at present we are in very early stage. But these robotic techniques, mark my word, these will be future. These will be used for service also, and these will be used for housekeeping also, and these may be used for front office check-ins also. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Saurabh Chandra, for giving such an insight of
Abhishek
changes
sir,
required. Yes, yes, sir. Voice is audible.
Abhishek sir, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
I am seeing one hand which is up from a very long time, and I would like to give him the chance to speak. May I request Mr. Arijit to say whatever he wants to say quickly, please?
Yes, good afternoon, all participants, attendees, our respected principal sir, and all speakers, Dr. Suresh Chandra Jewel sir. What a lovely presentations are given by you all. Now, this is by this webinar conducted by IHM Merit has given a positive light tone to the industry leaders that due to this pandemic situation, a lot of business are decreasing in tourism industry. Now it is the time to think re-engineering of the hotels. We have to follow the WHO guidelines, and we need not to worry. Very soon we will the tourism and the hotel business will regain momentum. The business will regain momentum. We don't need to. But before that, before all hotels will open, we need to start with some training, basic training of safety, hygiene of all hoteliers. then only it is possible to maintain, to cope up with the things. Because at this moment, all tourists are they are in fear whether we will do the tourism or we'll go to the hotel. So from our side, the hotels need to be prepared in all respect. Thank you, sir, for conducting this positive webinar on tourism and hotel industry. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Abhishek, sir, please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ajit, and thank you very much, Mr. Saurabh Chandra, for giving us such an insight, knowledge on the changes required and which are necessary to revive the hotels in future. So, with this note, we just came to the end ceremony of our webinar, and I would like request our respected Dr. Agitmit sir to please come on the platform and end up the webinar with the thanks of vote.
क्या दिख रहा है screen पे?
Nothing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We come to the close, and just before we go home, we must share the behind-the-scenes success story with you. The entire mechanism of IHM Meerut, was on a tight spring for the last 10 days. General hygiene, engineering department, front office department, housekeeping department, chefs of IHM Meerut, including the bakery chefs, computer faculty, communication faculty, the finance faculty, and the restaurant faculty. We worked tirelessly from 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, in the evening for the last 10 days to bring this little seminar together. A lot of hard work went behind this. I am thankful to all of these people that they worked not only tirelessly but enthusiastically and energetically. I'm so of being the principal of IHM. I mean, there's such a dream team that they don't actually need a boss. You know, they are so self-motivated and everything. It's such a cushy job being the principal of IHM Meerut. The college administration was at our beck and call. The entire college administration was full service. All these posters and the poster that you see at the back on your screen, I mean, I couldn't have done it. Mr. Ashish couldn't have done it. So it's all the administration which were very helpful to us in the difficult times. You see, IHM Meerut is in a zone which is considered to be red, and to manage such a big event, you know, at such times, really hats off to the administration for dealing with the civil administration, for dealing with the administrative, you know, the staff and everything. Wonderful. I would like to thank Colonel Suresh Gupta for a wonderful job. Director Operations, Mr. Sharma, S.C. Sharma, for being the back of the finance, for doing such a good job. He took care of the logistics and everything. Special thanks to the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Hemang Rajan, for always being there with me. He would reply to my messages in, I wouldn't say 10 seconds, I would say 30 seconds. So 30 seconds and he would reply, and I mean, absolute decision. So no hanky-panky stuff. I would like to thank Mr. Raman, Mr. Raghuvansh Raman, the secretary of the trust. He was very supportive. I have not seen him in this light ever in the last 30 years that I know him. जैसा मैंने पिछले 10 दिनों में मिस्टर रमन को देखा, मैंने 30 साल में नहीं देखा. He's ageless. He doesn't get tired. Amazing. So I'm thankful to Mr. Raman and thankful to Mr. Sharad, who was the dreamer, who was the person who thought and who told me that yes, you can do it. I mean, so that is the greatness of people, you know. So Sharad sir, it was his idea, and the execution, of course, was the entire team of IHM Meerut. Without Sharad sir, this is the first time I'm organizing a seminar, like this webinar, I would say. I would now like to thank all the speakers. I would like to go with the first speaker, Mr. Ashish. Mr. Ashish said in the beginning of his presentation that sodium hypochlorite will become a household name, like the way DDT and phenyl have become a household name today. Even the uneducated, illiterate people know what is DDT and what is phenyl. Phenyl ka pocha laga do, so they don't know what is phenyl, what is the chemical formula. Similarly, the future, this word called sodium hypochlorite will be in the dictionary. Sodium hypochlorite, everybody will know about it. Ethyl alcohol, chlorine, everybody will know about it. He said that posting signs, this is something which I really loved. If we post signs, please wash your hands, please wipe your feet, please this, please that, hygiene related signs. I mean, it is so nice. The previous people, in the old schools, it was written on the walls, Sadev Sach Bolo, Parishrami Safalta, these kind of things, they have a very positive effect on us. That, Ashish sir, I'm very thankful to you for saying this, that we should post signs wherever we can. And I fully agree with him when he said that teaching in the future will be blended. Fully agree. Technology will become so much easier than it is today. Today, technology is very easy. But tomorrow, technology is going to become even more easy. I would like to move on to the second speaker, Mr. Second speaker was Mr. Azhar. Mr. Azhar. Mr. Azhar spoke very well. He presented so many pictures. It was so easy to understand. He started with a fantastic business plan, which I don't know you understood or not, but you can request us if you want any of our presentations. If there are any questions and answers, please write to us, and we will make sure that whatever injustice that we've done to you in this webinar, we will make sure we satisfy you to the fullest. I would urge all the panelists and all the speakers to please consider all the questions that come to us by email seriously and to answer to each of them individually. We agree that the prices will be higher due to additional costs. Prices are going to be higher after the lockdown finishes, but the services will also be higher. A lot of delivery will be online. A lot of purchasing will be online. He said that sending chefs and guests home is a splendid alternative. But if you cannot come to the restaurant, then we'll send our chef to your house. He'll cook at your house. So this is, I never even thought about it. Ashish sir, Azhar sir, thank you very much. You've got a very sharp mind, I must say. And he talked about sous vide. And he talked about frozen food. That is the future. Preserved foods, packed food. That is the future. Now restaurants have to innovate. Of the day was Mr. Suresh. Dr. Suresh, we are very thankful to you. You spared your time. You were with us throughout the presentation. I thought you'd leave, but you stayed, and I joined my hands also to you. Unfortunately, I'm holding the book with the other hand. I took notes, you see, when you were talking. Dr. Suresh said about the housekeeping and the accommodations, operations, and the front office. We are so glad. We are so glad with whatever you told us. Wherever there are possibilities of physical touch, we should be extra careful. Adequate precautions that should be taken were illustrated by you so nicely. Entry points should be closely scrutinized. Wherever there is chance for entry of, I would say, unconstitutional elements, scrutiny. Very nicely said. You said housekeeping, front office, lobby, transportation, arrival, guest rooms, everything related to accommodation management was very well addressed by you. Thank you, sir. And last but not the least, the best teacher of IHM Meerut, I would say, in public, in front of so many people, Professor Saurabh Chandra. Professor Saurabh Chandra, I love the idea of sanitation booths. It never occurred to me. You see, like the way we enter an aircraft through a long tunnel. So similarly, you enter a hotel through a long tunnel in which you'll get sanitized. So by the time you reach from the gate to the lobby, you'll be absolutely germ-free, or virus-free, I would say. It's like taking a bath, before you enter a swimming pool. Before we are allowed to go into the swimming bath. So this will be like a UV bath, So you walk through a tunnel and you're sanitized. That was wonderful. Your robotics thing was very good. Yes, we will have to serve food through a conveyor belt. We will have to serve in the restaurant. There will be a conveyor belt, or there will be a robot, tap, 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 and then go and give stuff. Digital cards, voice. Even in the restaurant, people will be talking to each other over telephones or over, chat or whatever. Menu cards would come digitally to their phones or their laptops and, kind of stuff. Wonderful, wonderful. All in all, a wonderful session. Thank you very much. Time for one last speaker, Mr. Vivek Rana. Mr. Vivek Rana, you please speak, and then we will end this show. You are free to unmute yourself.
My question is,
Mr. Vivek Rana.
yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
कहिए.
Sir, my question,
कहिए please.
sir, my question is, if we talk about the fine dining restaurant, Saurav sir says mostly cutleries are disposable.
Mostly cutleries are going to be disposable. अभी तो जो है सो है. But in future he said कि ज्यादातर लोग बात सोचेंगे कि भैया use and throw. Okay, rest of the questions you can ask on email, please. I'm sorry. Yeah, time is very short. I would like to end this presentation. My vote of thanks is over. I hope we've been good, and I hope the time that you've spent with us was fruitful. Have a good day. May God bless you. Please stay at home. Be safe. Be healthy. Take care of your parents. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of your family. May Goddess Saraswati bless us. I thank Goddess Saraswati that she blessed us all this while and that nothing untoward happened during the presentation. I was so scared. Internet is so perishable. Thank you. God bless. Bye bye. Take care.